The top quarterback ad is still Taysom Hill. I know he didn't play great last week, but still gave you over 20 fantasy points and gets the Jets next week. He could run all over them. If you're going a little bit deeper at quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, just because of favorable matchup the next couple of weeks. Gardner Minshew, I know they're on bye, but they said they're not putting a firm timetable on Jalen Hurts returning. The top running backs are the same guys from last week because most of them were on bye. So don't forget about Dontrell Hilliard, Deontay Foreman, Amir Abdullah. They're all available in over half of NFL.com leagues. And then Marcus, you were talking up Sony Michelle. I think he definitely needs to be rostered. Tevin Coleman has been the Jets' lead running back since Michael Carter's gone down. So go out and pick up Coleman if you need some depth at some receivers. Van Jefferson. Marcus and I do not understand this one. Why he is available in over half of NFL.com leagues. He shouldn't be. Devontae Parker came back, played pretty well. Russell Gage. I mean, I was low on Russell Gage, but these last couple of weeks, he has proven me wrong and has looked like a strong fantasy piece. Amon-Ra St. Brown had the best game of his early career, caught the game-winning touchdown. Josh Reynolds continues to see consistent volume there for the Lions. And then at tight end, Cole Kmet, he just continues to see consistent volume for the Bears. Gerald Everett, I know he had a bad game yesterday, but he is still the third target there for Seattle. And then Tyler Conklin with no Adam Thielen, I think he sees more volume as long as Thielen is sidelined. So another tight end you can grab.
Yeah, you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown. We didn't mention the fact that the Lions won a game. Congratulations. They're not going to go winless this year. So they had to, look, it was the most Lionsy win ever. They had a big lead. They coughed it up. They needed a last-second drive and a walk-off touchdown to win it. But it is a win. So congratulations to Dan Campbell and the Lions. And the people of Detroit, you guys deserve better.
I mean, kudos to Lions fans, like, for being there yesterday. Like, it's cold. Your team is not good. Like, you guys are real fans.
You're real, true fans. So congratulations to you as much as to the team. Let's talk about some of the guys, though, on that list. Let's talk about Gardner Minshew specifically, because he came out and look, he had a good game. On some levels, yes, it was the Jets, but on the other levels, like, hey, look, you know what? He went out and he had a good matchup. And he took advantage of it. I mean, right now, before Monday Night Football, he is your QB 10. So that obviously led to a whole lot of stuff on the timeline about whether or not Gardner Minshew should be the Eagles' starting quarterback going forward. It seems sort of inevitable because that is what we do on Twitter. Blurg. For us, though, who would you rather have as the Eagles' QB1? Do we want Minshew Mania, or would we rather go back to Jalen Hurts?
No question about it for me. I'd rather Jalen Hurts. Like yesterday in a slam dunk matchup, Minshew did play well, and he gave us 18.5 fantasy points, but Jalen Hurts gives us over 20 basically every week. We know what he could do with his legs. The people who want Gardner Minshew are the people who were off Jalen Hurts and saying he was going to get benched and he's not an NFL quarterback, and they're sticking to their priors instead of being like, hey, Jalen Hurts isn't that bad, and he deserves a shot. I think for me personally, Marcus, I want to see Minshew go to another team and get another chance, but I also want to continue to see Jalen Hurts as a starter. If I have to pick one, it is easily Jalen Hurts for me.
Same. I want Jalen Hurts. I feel like he's still more dynamic. I feel like he, is going to get more guys involved. It was great to see Dallas Goedert have the big game. We talked about Devontae Smith, though, being a disappointment. I think Hurts will sort of get a lot more of these guys involved. He still has that rushing upside. I mean, look, we have sort of seen the Gardner Minshew show, and, I know people pointed out that the weapons he had in Jacksonville maybe weren't as good as what he's working with in Philadelphia, but we also have kind of seen how this thing plays out. I think we're still not completely sold on the Jalen Hurts experience. I don't think we've seen the final act of that yet, so I would like to see more. I just don't understand it. Like, literally, I feel like the people in Philadelphia and the people in Miami hate their respective quarterbacks. So maybe they should just figure out a swap that will make everybody happy. I don't know. It's weird to me. Samaje Perine, another guy. We talked about stashing guys. You talked about Marlon Mack. I talked about Sony Michelle. Does Samaje Perine kind of rise to the level of a guy worth stashing for the next few weeks?
I think so, because we've seen when Joe Mixon misses time, he is the next running back up. He'll get a good amount of volume, and those are the backup running backs that you want to roster. You don't want the guys like on the Chargers, like if Austin Eckler goes down, I cannot say with any confidence who the next man up is. But in a lot of teams, you can. That's why on my rosters where I have Marlon Mack and I have Benny Snell and I have Darrell Williams, Devontae Booker, because every week, if there's a big waiver wire pickup, it's usually a running back, the backup running back on a team that starter got hurt. You don't want to be in that position in the fantasy playoffs. In case something happens to your starter, you already want the backup on your roster. So, especially if you have Joe Mixon, definitely go out and get Samaje Perine.
I mean, we have seen Mixon in the past deal with injuries, and even this year. I mean, nothing that has been really long-term or really serious, but there's just those moments when something happens. He rolls an ankle or something, and he has to go sit down for a little while. If one of those things, not that we're wishing it, but if one of those things were to be serious and force him to miss time, Perine is a really nice option to slide in there. And look, it's nothing new. Every year, there's one or two backup running backs who end up being impactful in the fantasy playoffs. Alexander Mattison looks like he's going to slide into that role right now. There very well may be others before we crown some fantasy champions this year. All right, so if we are looking for our top waiver wire target, we have priority. We still somehow miraculously have a bunch of fab left to spend. Who are we going after this week?
If he is still out there, it would be Van Jefferson, who is only rostered in 36% of NFL.com leagues. That needs to go up dramatically. Like last week, he played 98% of the snaps and had 9 targets. This week, 8 targets, second on the team behind only Cooper Kupp. He scored a touchdown. All 3 of the Rams receivers scored a touchdown. And what we've seen since Robert Woods has gotten hurt is that Van Jefferson is that new number 2 receiver there, and they are not taking off any of their 3 receivers off the field. They are firmly using 3 receivers at all times. So I love Van Jefferson. If he's already rostered, I think like Taysom Hill becomes one if you need a quarterback, but mainly it would be your running back handcuff. Like I think it is that important to go out and get them this week.
I agree. Like Van Jefferson is the guy that I have been a Van Jefferson stan all year long. It's only gotten stronger as the year has progressed. I had that moment, when they got Odell Beckham Jr., I was like, well, okay, so that's maybe the end of the Van Jefferson train for this year. And then unfortunately, Robert Woods gets hurt, and hey, we're back again. I'm just so surprised that other people haven't caught on. Like I just figured it would have been universal at this point.
And Woods got hurt literally the day you were like, I think we have to be done with Van. So it was like one afternoon you doubted him, and that was it.
You're right. It wasn't even a full 24 hours that I was off the train. Like I was right back on pretty much immediately. So I would say, look, if Van Jefferson is, he's for me my top target, but if he's not there or you need help elsewhere, Sony Michelle is the guy that I think you should go out and get. I talked about him a little bit earlier and what he means potentially for this offense. Even if Darrell Henderson is healthy, there's still potentially a chance for him to get opportunities. So, knowing that you probably need running backs, or at least you want depth at running back, Sony Michelle should be a really nice thought for you when you're making your waivers in the next day or so.